The day dawned with a light breeze and a sky tinged with soft shades of blue and pink. I adjusted my bikini in front of the mirror and put on a lightweight cotton dress before heading downstairs for breakfast. The sound of waves breaking on the sand already echoed through the house, bringing a sense of tranquility that only the beach can provide. After a peaceful meal, I went down to the sand with a towel and my favorite book. The sun caressed my skin as I settled into the shade provided by a solitary coconut tree. It didn't take long for the sound of pages turning and the distant cries of seagulls to mix with the rhythm of the waves. Shortly after, I noticed a presence beside me. He was tall, with hair slightly tousled by the wind and a faint smile that seemed to capture the essence of the day. "Good morning," he said in a friendly tone. I responded with a smile, and we returned our attention to our own worlds, though the proximity created a kind of silent complicity. The afternoon progressed lazily, and the sun's warmth invited me for a swim. I walked toward the sea, feeling the hot sand beneath my feet and the refreshing breeze on my face. He followed me, and soon we were side by side, letting the waves embrace us. Every movement felt like a dance with the ocean. "This place has something special, doesn't it?" he remarked, gazing at the horizon. I agreed, feeling an inexplicable connection in the moment. Conversation flowed naturally, alternating between light laughter and comfortable silences. When the sun began to dip in the sky, we decided to leave the water, though something in the exchange of glances suggested that the conversation wouldn't end there. Back on the beach, we sat on the sand. The warmth of the setting sun bathed everything around us in shades of gold and red. He shared stories of his travels, and somehow his words seemed to bring the sea closer, as if every detail was a wave gently dissolving upon meeting the sand. There was a moment when silence settled between us, but it was by no means uncomfortable. He leaned in a bit closer, his fingers drawing absent patterns in the sand while his gaze fixed on mine. "You seem to belong to this place," he said, his voice almost a whisper. My breathing slowed, and I simply nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. When night finally claimed the sky, we went to a small beach bar, where soft music and the sound of the sea created the perfect atmosphere. He ordered 2 drinks, and we toasted to a day that seemed to be the beginning of something more. We talked until late, with smiles that said more than words could express. The walk back home was wrapped in the silvery glow of the moon reflected on the sea. Our steps were synchronized, and each exchange of glances held a subtle promise that this encounter would not be forgotten. The night breeze brought a refreshing coolness as we walked side by side along the moonlit beach. The sound of the waves breaking on the sand harmonized with the peaceful rhythm of our footsteps. He held my hand for a moment, his fingers intertwining with mine, and the warmth of his touch coursed through me like a wave. "The night is perfect, isn't it?" he said, his voice low and laced with a softness that made my heart race. I simply nodded, feeling the gravity of the moment. We stopped in front of a large rock where the sea gently advanced and receded. He sat down and pulled me close, our knees nearly touching. We talked about trivial things, but each word seemed to carry something deeper. At one point, he brushed his hand through my hair, adjusting a strand the wind insisted on messing up. The gesture was so natural that I felt my face blush. When our eyes met, time seemed to stand still. "Can I confess something?" he asked, his voice even softer, almost a whisper. Before I could respond, he leaned in slightly, his lips hovering near mine. There was a hesitation, as if giving me the chance to pull away, but I didn't want to. When we finally kissed, it felt as if the entire world around us disappeared, leaving only the sound of the sea as a soundtrack. Kiss started gentle but soon grew more intense. His hand slid to my waist, pulling me closer with a delicate firmness. I felt the warmth of his body and the firm touch of his hands, which seemed to explore every detail with care and intensity. My skin tingled wherever he touched, and every movement seemed designed to awaken all my senses. At one point, he gently lifted me, placing me on my feet before him. His hands traced a slow path along my arms, moving up to my shoulders and then back down to my waist. "You're incredible," he murmured, looking at me as if I were the only thing that mattered at that moment. Above us, the moon reflected on the sea, creating a magical silver light. He took my hand again and led me to where the water kissed the sand. With our feet in the warm water, he spun me unexpectedly, holding me firmly as we laughed together. The laughter was interrupted by another kiss, this one more urgent and filled with desire. His arms enveloped me completely, and I lost myself in the warmth of his embrace. He stroked my face, his fingers tracing the contour of my jaw and sliding down to my neck. "You leave me speechless," he admitted, the sincerity in his voice touching me deeply. When we returned to the sand, we lay side by side on his towel, gazing at the starry sky. He draped an arm around my shoulders, and I snuggled closer, feeling the beat of his heart through his chest. His hand traced slow circles on my back, a touch that blended comfort with provocation. Words were replaced by touches and glances, each moment more intense than the last. The night deepened, but the connection between us seemed only to grow. He played with my fingers, kissed my forehead, and whispered words that made my heart race. It felt as though time had ceased to exist, and all that mattered was this moment, shared between just the two of us. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone you think would love to hear it too. Your engagement is essential for us to keep bringing more content like this. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching and see you next time.